Personal log, Admiral Alexander Pierce. Date, January 1st, 1930. After years of dedicated service to the US Navy, I find myself in a position I could never have anticipated. At the helm of the greatest naval force in the world. The weight of responsibility is palpable, for the task that lies before me is both daunting and exhilarating. As I sit in my office, gazing at the blank canvas that is our Navy's future, I cannot help but be reminded of the challenges that await us. The state of the US Navy is far from ideal. Neglect and complacency have taken their toll, leaving us with ships mothballed and technologies outdated. But there is hope. There is always hope. The same hope that has driven me throughout my career, that has guided me through the darkest of days, and that has shown me the power of determination and vision. Building a modern navy capable of projecting power and maintaining peace and security is not an endeavor that can be accomplished overnight. It will require patience, strategy, and a steadfast commitment to the principles that define us as a nation. I see a fleet of ships yet to be constructed, brimming with potential and promise. Each vessel will be a testament to our dedication to preserving liberty and safeguarding those who sail under our flag. The path ahead is clear, even if the challenges are formidable. To achieve our goals, we must foster innovation and embrace cutting-edge technologies. Our ships must be equipped with the most advanced armaments, our sailors trained to the highest standards, and our strategies honed through relentless preparation. The seas are vast and unforgiving, but it is within these waters that we will craft our legacy. I find myself reflecting on my favorite quote from Shakespeare's Henry V. "We're in God's hands, brother, not in theirs." It reminds me that while we navigate treacherous waters, we are not alone. The steadfast spirit of our crew, the determination of our officers, and the support of our nation will buoy us through the turbulent times. I take solace in the knowledge that the United States Navy, under my watch, will rise like a phoenix from the ashes. We will forge a fleet that embodies the values of honor, integrity, and courage. We will earn the respect of our allies and command the respect of our adversaries. Together we shall light a beacon of hope in a world that craves stability and peace. As I conclude this log entry, I am filled with renewed determination. The journey ahead will be arduous, but it is a journey we shall embark on with pride and passion. To the future of the United States Navy and the legacy we shall create, I say with unwavering conviction, engage. Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. It is January 1930, and due to neglect, the United States Navy has no ships. This is also a sort of gameplay mechanic designed to offset the fact that if you start with no ships, design them before turn 1, and then hit go, you start out with a pretty massive advantage over the AI, which has most of their ships from 1926. So this is going to offset that, and this also means I need to design all my ships myself and have them built over a span of many months. Now, this campaign is going to have a couple of different ways that I play relative to usual. Most important is I'm running Admiral Snackbar's Balance Mod and Gun Resizer. This means some guns and some game mechanics will behave different from what you might be used to. Hits might actually inflict a lot more damage. And the gun resizer means that some ships will have different guns than what you might imagine that they can have from the base game. Now, I am starting the campaign with 0 ships. All ships have to have torpedo launchers. I can only use dual barrel weapons, and I will have 1 flagship. This flagship can only be the biggest ship in the fleet. Smaller ships are allowed, so I can have like the biggest battleship. I can have more battleships, but they have to be smaller. And all of these can, of course, be upgraded depending on the tech that I have. Currently, my biggest shipyard size is 55,500 tons, so that's what I'm going to have to use. Let's design the flagship. Let's design the Enterprise. The campaign is a bit inspired by the character of Admiral Picard / Captain Picard, depending on what era you get him in. So he's going to be sort of the voice / the character of this particular series. If you haven't watched Star Trek Next Generation or Star Trek Picard, then I highly recommend you do so. I grew up watching that, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Now, this is going to be the flagship. It is not necessarily going to be the ship with the most firepower. It is going to be the ship with the most survivability, because if the flagship dies, the campaign instantly ends. So whatever happens, this ship must survive. Now, I have been granted a fairly sizable amount of guns, and I believe normally you can... Well, yeah, you can normally have 9-inch guns on the battleship. We've got Mark 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, and even a Mark 3 17-incher. That could be interesting. The reload is 92 seconds. The reload on the 16 is 85 seconds. So it's not even that bad, actually. Considering the damage that this thing can inflict, 4,000 with AP and 12.5 with HE, or about 10k with HE and 3.5k with AP. Yeah, I think the 16s are still going to be enough. Let's put the 16s on the ship. I'm thinking survivability is key. So if I cannot have 4 turrets, I will gladly sacrifice that additional turret to make sure that the ship survives. Now, I'm also going to give her a stereoscopic rangefinder. I do not want the ship to get very close to the target. I do not want to risk getting lobbed or getting hit with a torpedo in the face, facing some sort of catastrophic destructive event to the ship, and losing the whole boat. Can't have that. This should make the HE damage a little less, but yeah. At, let's say, 15,000 meter range, I can pen either 36 inches with AP or the half of it with HE. So, yeah, actually it's like a perfect half and half. AP is always twice what I can pen with HE. Perfect. Reload time has dwindled to 46.5 seconds, but I want to make these things longer range. So let's say a 15% range increase puts my reload back at 65. But now at 15,000 meter range I have 10 to 12% accuracy, which I think is good. Now, what else do I need? I need some form of secondary weaponry. We have the 8s, the 7s, and the 6 all in Mark 4. This is Mark 4. We got the Mark 5 4-incher. That looks a bit weird. It looks more like a Japanese turret, really. I was hoping we'd get the very American distinct 5-inchers. Sadly not. Also, why can I not put like a 4-incher up there? Does that have to be a 3-incher? Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so that's a 3-inch dual barrel. Correct? Yeah, times 2. And over here, can I have 8-inchers? No, it's a bit big for the balcony. 7s? 7s do fit. Now again, I'm going to go with the 7s because they're going to give me the most range. Especially if I buff their barrel length, and I can get that as high as a 17% bonus. I will have to add these things in manually, lest they don't fit, according to the game. Okay. Now, the situation is such that I have 5,000 tons remaining. I still have to add torpedo launchers, because every ship of mine has to have torpedo launchers. If I can fit these like here, that'd be great, but I am kind of hamstringing my main turret. So that's a concern. Alternatively, if I push the whole superstructure back a little bit, maybe I can make room for them here. Sadly not. If I do this too much, I'm going to make my citadel really big, which means I'm going to have to spend more of my weight distribution on armor, which is again not phenomenal, but so be it. It might allow me to add a bit of a barbette. Oh, this ship can only have... Yeah, no thank you. No thank you. No, I want to have a pretty compressed ship. Something that is nice and dense, so that I don't have to spend a whole bunch of displacement just figuring out how to protect the ship. If only you could put torpedo launchers up there, but I suppose that's going to make them... yeah, that doesn't work. Yeah, this will be fine. It's not the best location, but it gets the job done. Now, for the type of propellant, I'm going to have super heavy shells, which means the reload's going to be 71 seconds. I am expecting a better crew to do a better job at that. As for range, we're currently only doing 22,000 kilometers, which on a map this size is not very good. I'm going to have to do something about that range. I am currently running turbines. Here we go. 23k. If I add balanced boilers, it's not going to help me that much. Let's go for naturals. Oil 2 is fine. Yeah, it's just the ship is pretty heavy. And I think I'm going to have to add another tick. There we go, 27k. Push this back a little bit. Now let's start adding some armor onto this ship. As well as a bigger torpedo launcher. 21-inch torpedoes is fine. And since the AI is probably still ridiculously good, I'm going to give them electric torpedoes. And this allows them a range of 12 kilometers and still a substantial punch. The reload time is enormous though. It's 1200 seconds or near enough. Which means that I'll be firing these every once in a blue moon. And potentially the battle will be over before I fire again. Ideally, that is. Ideally. As for putting another one of these guns over here, I don't really want to do that. Because the positions aren't that good. 2-inchers. I can add a couple of those. Because this is an American battleship after all. So I might as well respect the fact that the American battleships used to have tons and tons and tons of guns. Now, hopefully, the game is going to allow me to add another, 12% is fine, to these guns, so that they can fire out to 7.1 with HE and 6.8 with AP. That's fine. Okay, now we're going to bolt on some armor. Superstructure first. This is going to be a 15-inch armor belt with a 7-inch, a 7-inch, say a 9-inch main deck, maybe a 6'4", 6 aft. Give me 20 inches on the conning tower. And when it comes to my ability to put out floodings, triple hull bottoms are going to help with that. Oh, sorry, they're going to reduce flooding chance, of course, for torpedoes. Beam and draft is fine. Speed is fine. I could add even more barbette strength to make sure the ship doesn't have any flash fires. Barbette anti-flash 5 is going to give me the lowest chance of that. She's already carrying reinforced bulkheads. I think this is a pretty solid ship right now. Just make sure the turrets don't detonate on me. So let's give them like an 18-inch front-facing, 8 top, 15-inch barbette. Give me an 8-inch over there, or at least the maximum that you can. Say an 11-incher there. There we go. That's maxed out. I still got 1,000 tons left. I have advanced radio telegraph, that's good. I don't feel like I need RDF. Although, in roleplay for the flagship, I will get it, because it means more communications range. So this is going to be pretty important. Now then, better hydraulic steering. Get out of the way of incoming torpedo tubes if and when that happens. Give them a better engine shaft. Give them a better battery. I'm surprised this still fits on the ship. Yeah, that's kind of what I was worried about. Reduce this a bit. Reduce that a bit. There. I'm going to give them spacious quarters because this is the flagship. And with this, I'm simulating that there is a whole staff aboard the flagship. So that's the Enterprise. This is the flagship. I can only have one of these. I cannot have more. The other battleships, or any other ships, cannot be bigger than this. So let's have one of these built and make sure that the shipyard is up to snuff. Because I am going to be taking a while to build this guy up. Or this girl, rather. And I need to make sure that I still have enough capacity to build other ships. So let's build one Enterprise. That's going to take me a total of 27 months. As for the rest, I still have 461,000 tons left, so I can still add more. So, a new ship design. Something like a more ship of the line-ish battleship. I don't like modernized dreadnoughts a whole lot, but I know that some people really do. So let's have one or two of these guys. because they might still be in service, and at, I don't know, let's say 30,000 tons, the North Carolinas can still be useful. They have a Giga Control Tower. Holy crap. 42 long-range accuracy. Just where does that fit? Here. Where do you put your weapons? Where do you put the turrets on this thing? That's interesting. And where do you put the funnel? Right. So we're gonna have turrets amidships. I love the detail of these rangefinders on these towers. Good lord. Yeah, right. Because that would fit. Engine efficiency 300%. Sounds about right. Smoke interference 22. 55? Oh, your smoke... your funnel cap is 14 and this is 80. Yeah, okay, I get it. So I would have like an ultra funnel over there to make sure that everybody standing in there is going to be properly smoked. What sort of firepower can I give this ship? 15s. I think that's pretty respectable. Let's say 15-inch duels. Oh, this thing is going to be so bow heavy. Can I compress this? And then push this back. Add a barbette. Medium fits that ship. It's like you have a ton of space for additional guns, but I wouldn't really know what to put on there. Really. Let's give them Croup 4, Barbette 3, Anti-Torp 2, triples. Their speed is incredibly low. Let's push them to like 27 knots. They're modernized dreadnoughts after all. Some slightly better auxiliary engines. And make sure that these guys are going to do quite a bit of distance. 26,000 kilometers ought to be fine, but I'm operating as the US, so I'm going to have to be going pretty far away from home. Oh, I might not be able to do that though. 25 knots. Save some weight. Anti-flood, all of it. Reinforced bulkheads, yes please. This is gonna get tricky. I'm not gonna give them a radar. I will give them a stereo rangefinder. Let's say Hydro 3. This is going to get problematic. Very problematic. I'm gonna have to swap down to a smaller caliber gun. Because the 14-inch guns don't weigh nearly as much. This is 1,000 tons. This is 1,200 tons. So I can save quite a bit of weight there. And I really do want to, because otherwise I'll not be able to arm this ship properly and equip her with all the upgrades that I would like. Let's give them TNT 4. And as for shells... I feel like semi-ballistic is still a really good choice. Considering how much armor you can pen, and that the shells don't likely deflect. Heavy shells... I'm gonna have to go with a double hull bottom, because I still want to add some secondary weaponry. Right now the ship simply does not have any. Really? Can I also add those here? Or is that for something else? What are those for? For 2-inch guns? Really? That's for... No thank you. I'll pass. I'm not putting a 2-inch gun up there. I'm putting a couple of 4-inchers here. To aid the ship in her survival. And also, we're going to have torpedo launchers. They are mandated by the Admiral. Okay. Ship has a slight 4-weight offset, but nothing really as disastrous as I thought it would be. When it comes to my armor scheme, I think 15-inch armor belt is really respectable. Let's give them a 6 and a 6. 0.1 superstructure. No, that is largely unacceptable. I cannot live with a 0.1-inch superstructure. Can I middle this at like 4.5 each? Yep. Let's put 16 inches on the conning tower. And when it comes to the torpedoes, of course they're going to be 21 inchers. They're going to be electrics. I am quite happy with the shells. Can I add another? Yes, I can. This is a curious looking ship. But I think I can make it work. The problem is still 4 weight offset. So let's make sure the ship's going to be a bit... No, I can't. Hold on. Can I put this behemoth over here? No. Sadly not. Sadly not. Give me the ultra funnel. If I remove these, saves me a bit. I think I'm going to have to save some armor belt, because I'm not sacrificing these guns. So let's say 5-inch armor belt, or give this like 7. Yeah, that'll be more reasonable. Okay, the North Carolina class battleship. It is a modernized dreadnought. Next. I want to have a battle cruiser. I want to have something that's really quick. And I'm thinking a 99 hull form is really, really handy. Oh, also, first... Yeah. First, I'm going to have a couple of those North Carolinas in production. Let's say 3 or so, and see how much capacity I still have left. Alright, so I got 3 of them ordered. That still gives me 300k in deployment. Perfect. So let's add a bit more. Let's add that fast battle cruiser. So the 99 hull form. These things are more so to hunt down enemy cruisers than really harass enemy battleships. Although, if I build them out right, I should be able to do both. So let's make these like 33 knot battleships. Battle cruisers. Good engine, really good propeller shafts, and really good steering. They're going to be at speed all the time. They're going to have gear turbines. They're going to have some anti-torpedo protection, but not a ton. Survivability, max that out, always. 50,000 tons? That's a big boy. Really big boy. Let's make that 40,000 tons, because I think otherwise the ship's going to be a bit too big and pricey for what I needed to do. So let's not. Barbette. Oh, sorry, I already have a barbette on the bow. I'm facing / fighting something a bit smaller, i.e. it's going to be a ship of cruiser caliber. And let's see if I can add 12-inch and still have them have enough firepower. I think I can make that work. Does that fit? No, it does not. Okay, medium. That does. There we go. Now, it does mean I'm going to end up with mostly sort of standard-looking ships. It's just that it's such a tested and tried design that you just know works. And that's the big selling point. Now, secondary guns, I'm thinking 5-inchers on all of these platforms. Because it's a very, very versatile weapon system. You're going to get Generation 2 rangefinder. You'll be fighting slightly closer, so let's give it coincidence. Really good sonar. And some advanced radio telegraph. TNT-4 ought to do it. Turret rotation is important. Shells can be standard. 2 powder, please. And as for pen, I'm thinking standard AP. It gives me substantial amounts of AP. And I can still use that against battleships as well. I'm going to give soft-capped ballistic HE shells. Because with this, I can probably pen any of their cruisers with ease. No matter the range. And I'll deal a pretty thunderous amount of damage at 2.5k. Now, as for armor, the ship still has a ton of displacement left. But I'm already looking at a price tag of $250,000. Let's add a couple of 3-inchers. Maybe a couple of 2-inchers. Again, everything dual barrel. And I still need to figure out where exactly I'm going to park my torpedo launcher. And I'm thinking here. Just there. They can have a pretty damn good firing arc towards the front. I like that. Electric torp launcher. Yep. Okay, survivability. 13 inches, 5 inches, 4 belts. No, 6. 6 and 6. Main deck. It's going to be potentially important. 5-inch aft deck, 5-inch foredeck. 3-inch superstructure. 4-inch superstructure, because you're going to be running closer to the enemy ships. I don't want that. Barrel length for the 12-inchers, none improved, because I want good rate of fire. 5-inch guns, I can improve those. 3-inch guns, I can improve those. 2-inch guns, I can improve those. The ship is not maxed out. The ship does, however, have some balancing issues. So let's give it like a 7-inch 4-belt, maybe even 8. And with that, be able to chase down enemy ships in this sense. I don't have to max it out. I can always add additional tech. So the Sentinel class, which I think is okay as a title. Let's give them maximum range. Can I even give them more speed? No, that's a bit much. 34? 34 is something they're willing to accept. Alright. The ship is pitching up and down a bit because she's relatively long. Whatever, it'll be fine. Alright, I'm going to be designing the other 2 ships, or other 3 ships off screen, because I want to keep these episodes sub 30 minutes so they don't get too long. So, heavy cruiser class, Scranton, speed 33 knots, range fairly limited, 13,806 kilometers. This thing could be a problem. Maximum bulkheads, 10% beam to make sure that the ship has room for 8 torpedo tubes. Primary armament, relatively few main guns to add to the torpedo armament. So her main guns are limited to 6 9-inchers, but she does get those 16 torpedo tubes in form of 2 per side. Her range could be a limiting factor for the ship's deployment. If that turns out to be the case, I'll have to design a new heavy cruiser. As for the rest, her main primary armament is firing semi-ballistic AP shells to deal with enemy cruisers, destroyers, and light cruisers. She is firing super heavy shells, which kind of offsets the lackluster damage that those AP shells or semi-ballistic shells can do. She's firing TNT bursting shells, allowing for a lot of HE damage. And with that, those main guns can deal a substantial blow to enemy light ships. She does not come with a radio, but she does come with a Generation 1 radar rangefinder. She's going to come with a sonar array and some coincidence rangefinding, as well as depth charges in order to deal with enemy submarines. Now, very important about this ship, she is very well protected with an 8-inch main belt, 4-belt aft belt, a 3-inch main deck, and a very respectable amount of superstructure armor. The light cruiser Tacoma class is just one that's going to be capable of going everywhere, or at least that was the plan, up until the point where she met reality. And that's when I figured out that these funnels are going to be a problem, leaving only a range of 14,816 kilometers. That's it. So it's slightly better than the Scrantons, but not by that much. Now, these ships are cheap. They're only 50 million relative to the Scranton's 103. Primary armament of 8 6-inch guns, aided by torpedo launchers, as well as a couple of 3-inch guns to deal with smaller targets. Primary objective is to intercept smaller ships, i.e. destroyers, and keep those away from the Scrantons and potentially the Sentinels. Her defensive armament, her primary armament fires AP shells from standard AP, still giving them a pretty respectable amount of pen, and in case that they can actually just not pen at all, she's still going to be able to set targets ablaze with those 6-inch high explosive incendiary shells. All ships carry 21-inch torpedo tubes with electrical propulsion to make sure that they're not going to be detectable, or at least not as much. And finally, the Morris-class destroyer. These guys, workhorses of the fleet, 6 5-inch guns, 1 quad launcher, and a lot of range. 27,000 kilometers gives them about the range of the Tacoma and the Scranton combined. They are going to cost me 33 million, which is on the pricier end of a destroyer, but I'd rather have my destroyers not be throwaway ships, or ships that turn out to be fairly useless in the middle of a battle anyway. Sadly, I could not give them all the utilities that I would like, so they only got a Minehunter Sweeper 2. She did get depth charges 4 in case enemy submarines show up, and she got a Generation 1 radar rangefinder, so that she can still find, intercept, and destroy enemy convoys when it comes to that. Now, this is the fleet. This is the designs that I have. It's, however, not quite what I'm going to be completely building, because I might not be able to build enough of these ships. So basically, the moment one ship comes off the slipway, I'm going to have to add another. Because what it looks like now is I am building 1 Enterprise, 3 of the North Carolinas, 4 Sentinels, I have 6 heavy cruisers coming out, and now I only have a little bit of tonnage left. So we're going to be throwing in a couple of the light cruisers. Those weigh 7,000 tons each. So if I want to build like the 10 that I have in mind, I'll not be able to make that fit and still build destroyers. I now have 14,000 tons left, and that's going to go into having a couple of destroyers, but like just a handful, because I basically cannot build out any more than that. As for the rest of the campaign, I do believe crew training is vital importance. Tech budget also vitally important, as one of my objectives for the campaign is to have a really modern US Navy. And transport capacity, I would love to add a whole bunch there, but sadly, monthly balance is not going to allow for that. So let's go to 80% here, and let's go to a bit here. Now, when it comes to my research, also I would potentially like to build out shipyards, but I guess I'm gonna have to wait. No, actually that can't wait, because that's a 24-month project. We'll just cycle down our tech, because that's by far the most expensive. There. Research-wise, I'm not going to prioritize anything. Some of these, and I think this is due to the fact that I have the rebalance mod active, or the balance mod. Also, the gun resizer is work in progress, so it's currently not working on this campaign, sadly. Which is why you're not finding cruisers with odd caliber guns. Anyway, rangefinder's 1800 months until we get Radar Rangefinder 3. I could prio that, but it really doesn't give me that much better. I mean, yes, it's a heck of a lot better. It's going from 1800 to 900, but that's still a really long time. So I'm just gonna let this thing go as it pleases. Alright guys, that'll be the fleet. In the next episode, ideally, we're gonna have a fleet, and we'll be actually able to do something in this world, because right now, I don't have a navy, and the first ship I'm expecting is the Morris itself in 8 months. Hope you guys enjoy being back to Dreadnoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments, and I'll see you soon for more Dreadnoughts.